Eric Fleming, born Edward Hetty Jr. on July 4, 1925, in Santa Paula, California, entered the world under difficult circumstances that shaped much of his early life. His childhood was marked by instability and hardship, growing up in a home where discipline often crossed into cruelty. At an age when most children rely on family for protection, Fleming instead learned self-reliance far too early. By the time he was 8 years old, he attempted to flee his environment, setting out alone for Los Angeles. Life on the streets exposed him to poverty, danger, and survival at its rawest level. He worked odd jobs when he could, and slept wherever safety allowed. These formative years hardened him, but also instilled a deep sense of endurance. Long before audiences knew him as a steady, commanding presence on television, Fleming had already lived through struggles that would define his resilience for the rest of his life. A youth shaped by survival. As Fleming entered adolescence, the challenges he faced did not fade, but instead intensified. Living without guidance or security, he drifted into environments where bad decisions were common and consequences unforgiving. Like many young people trying to survive without structure, he became involved with delinquent influences and eventually encountered legal trouble. During this period, a serious accident left him with injuries that required extensive medical treatment, altering his appearance and forcing him into long recovery. Rather than breaking him, this experience became a turning point. Fleming later reflected that confronting vulnerability made him reconsider the direction of his life. For the first time, he recognized the possibility of change. Pain and hardship, which had once controlled him, now became motivation. It was the beginning of a transformation, one that shifted him from mere survival toward purpose, discipline, and the hope of something better, finding purpose through service. Seeking stability and a new sense of identity, Fleming enlisted in the United States Navy during World War II. Military life offered structure, responsibility, and a clear path forward, things he had never known growing up. Serving in the South Pacific, he proved himself reliable and dedicated, eventually rising to the rank of petty officer. The discipline of military service reshaped him both mentally and emotionally, instilling values of teamwork, accountability, and perseverance. More importantly, it gave him confidence that he could succeed within a system rather than exist outside of one. Fellow servicemen later recalled him as serious, dependable, and quietly determined. When Fleming was honorably discharged, he returned home a changed man. Though he carried scars from earlier years, he also carried a newfound belief that reinvention was possible, setting the stage for an unexpected journey into the world of entertainment. An unlikely path to Hollywood. After the war, Fleming returned to California unsure of his future but determined to improve himself. He found work as a laborer at Paramount Studios, initially performing manual tasks far removed from the spotlight. Yet his strong build, distinctive features, and calm intensity did not go unnoticed. Encouraged by those around him, he began taking acting classes, discovering a natural ability to convey emotion with restraint rather than exaggeration. Acting offered him something deeply personal, a way to channel his past experiences into meaningful expression. Small television and film roles followed throughout the 1950s, including appearances on popular anthology shows and westerns. While these early parts were modest, they allowed Fleming to build confidence and credibility. He approached acting seriously, treating it as a craft rather than a shortcut to fame, unaware that one role would soon change his life. A shift that couldn't save the show. Following Fleming's departure, Clint Eastwood was promoted to lead the series, a move that fundamentally altered its structure. Eastwood later acknowledged feeling conflicted about the change, recognizing that the show's strength had long rested on the relationship between his character and Fleming's. Without that dynamic, Rawhide struggled to redefine itself. Compounding the issue, CBS shifted the show from its long-standing Friday night slot to a more competitive evening, placing it against other popular programs. The gamble did not pay off. Ratings continued to slide, and after a shortened 8th season, the network canceled the series. For Fleming, the end of Rawhide was both painful and liberating. Though disappointed by the abrupt dismissal, he refused to let it define him. Instead, he set out to prove his versatility beyond the Western genre that had made him famous. Reinvention. After Rawhide. In the years following Rawhide, Fleming actively sought roles that challenged audience expectations. He appeared in the 1966 film The Glass-Bottom Boat, showcasing a lighter, more sophisticated side opposite Doris Day. Though not the lead, his performance demonstrated range and adaptability. On television, he made memorable guest appearances on Bonanza, one of the era's most beloved series. These roles allowed Fleming to explore morally complex characters, including authority figures whose power was flawed or misused. Critics praised his nuanced performances, particularly for their restraint and psychological depth. Fleming seemed poised for a new phase in his career, one less defined by a single character and more by versatility. Friends and colleagues noted his renewed enthusiasm and ambition. At just 41, he appeared ready to build a second act that could redefine his place in Hollywood. The fateful journey to Peru. In 1966, Fleming accepted a role in High Jungle, a television project filmed on location in Peru. The production promised adventure and international scope, aligning with Fleming's desire to expand his career. Filming in remote environments, however, presented logistical challenges unfamiliar to many American crews at the time. While the project aimed for realism, it lacked the comprehensive safety protocols standard today. Fleming reportedly expressed concern about certain conditions, particularly the unpredictability of natural settings. Still, the production continued under tight schedules and limited resources. On September 28, 1966, during the filming of a river scene, an accident occurred. Fleming was lost to the river, and despite immediate efforts, he could not be saved. News of his death stunned the industry, cutting short a career that had survived adversity only to end far too soon. Confusion, silence, and unanswered questions. In the aftermath of Fleming's death, official reports described the incident as a tragic accident. However, limited information, combined with the remote location, led to lingering uncertainty. The production was quietly shut down, and High Jungle was never completed or released. Cast and crew returned home, many deeply shaken by the experience. Over time, questions arose about preparation, oversight, and whether the risks had been fully understood. Without assigning blame, it became clear that filmmaking in such environments carried dangers that were not always adequately addressed during that era. Fleming's passing highlighted the need for improved safety standards, particularly for actors working far from controlled studio settings. Though the full details were never widely publicized, the loss resonated deeply, reminding Hollywood of the human cost behind ambitious productions and the importance of protecting those who bring stories to life. A personal loss beyond the screen. Beyond his professional achievements, Fleming's death was a deeply personal tragedy for those who knew him best. He was engaged at the time, looking ahead to marriage and a more settled future. Friends described him as reserved but loyal, someone who valued trust, earned through shared experience. His life story, marked by hardship, transformation, and perseverance, made his sudden loss especially painful. For fans, he would always be Gil Favor, the steady leader who guided others through uncertainty. For loved ones, he was a man who had fought hard to overcome his past and was still building his future. Fleming's death at 41 left a sense of unfinished possibility. He had survived a difficult childhood, reinvented himself through service and discipline, and earned respect in a demanding industry. That journey, though cut short, remains deeply meaningful. Legacy of strength and caution. Eric Fleming's life and career stand as both inspiration and warning. His rise from adversity to television stardom reflects remarkable resilience, while his death underscores the responsibilities industries hold toward those who work within them. Though remembered primarily for Rawhide, his broader story reveals a man shaped by experience, discipline, and quiet determination. Fleming brought authenticity to every role because he understood struggle firsthand. Today, his legacy lives on not only through reruns and fan admiration, but through the lessons learned from his final project. Improved safety practices in filmmaking owe much to tragedies like his. While the mystery surrounding his death may never be fully resolved, the truth that matters most is clear. Eric Fleming was more than a Western hero. He was a survivor, an artist, and a reminder that behind every screen legend is a human life worth protecting.